Saw it pop up. Got the notification.
All right, I think we're live now on the YouTube video.
Live on the video.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning into our show. This is another Jags podcast, episode 74.
74.
I'm here with Joey.
Finally,
Joey's back.
It's been 2 weeks, man. I've been missing it.
The people have spoken. They wanted you back.
I'm glad. I've missed you guys as well. I had some work stuff, had some vacation stuff with the family, but recharged. Glad
Feeling
to be
good?
back. Yeah, man. Pumped.
So as you can see, people that watched our show, we have a new setting here, a new background.
Which is fancy.
Yeah. So
Well done, Jason.
Yeah, just had some time off. Had a little vacation. I figured I would do some upgrading on our show.
I think a few things need some commenting on. I mean, for one, we've got a bonsai-like tree, which
it's real too.
Yeah, I can tell it's all tied, takes water, and we have a candle which is different than last time. Please tell me this is a Miles Jack candle.
This is in fact a Miles Jack candle.
A legitimate, actually made by hand by Miles Jack.
I wish I would have kept the box. I put it in the recycle bin. The return address says Miles Jack, 1 TIAA Bank Field.
I'm complete at this point.
If you go on our
that's amazing.
If you go on our Twitter, I put a picture of it.
It's a quality candle. I mean, it's been burning for at least an hour, and it's barely even anywhere.
I mean, it's a little smaller than I thought it was going to be, but at the end of the day, it's from Miles Jack. So
and it's handmade by Miles Jack.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go.
So I'm trying to find the live feed here. Oh, here we go. All right, so now. Okay, so we're live on YouTube. If you have questions on YouTube, make sure to send us comments or questions on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter at Another Jags Pod, Facebook, Instagram, Another Jags Podcast. This is technically going to be our O-line breakdown. So that's what we're going to attempt to do here. But we will see what happens from there.
that Jason's talking about me. So, yeah, let's continue.
I'm prepared.
I'm
So
not.
we'll see how this goes.
Not anything different. So I've got my opinions and my comments. I mean, so yeah, I'm excited about that because our season is going to be made or broken by our offensive line, in my opinion. So I think it's the most important discussion we'll have in the preseason, personally.
But before we get to that, there's a couple things that's kind of new happening that I kind of wanted to touch on.
Fair enough.
The first thing that's I guess breaking news is that the Jags picked Marcus Sims as an undrafted free agent after the supplemental draft because he wasn't drafted out of West Virginia. So at first I was like, okay, Marcus Sims, okay. Obviously I'm going to do a little bit of research on him to see if he's good or anything. So I looked at his film. His film looks decent. Quick guy. He's a receiver, natural ability to start and stop on a dime. He was third on the team at West Virginia with 46 receptions, 699 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Who has thrown to him, just for the record?
Your boy, Will Greer.
Exactly.
So, not bad. But this is what really impressed me. So, I posted a video on Twitter about him with a little highlight film. And he retweeted it. And it was crazy the amount of support that came from West Virginia fans and teammates on the tweet.
Which is a fantastic sign.
It is.
If you're not a good dude, you're not getting that kind of support. Which when you told me that, I was like, that makes me like the guy even more because obviously he's doing something right.
It really, that's what stood out to me too. And everyone seems to be cheering for him. The fans were like, man, we're going to miss him. So I
think that also means that they thought he should have gotten drafted beforehand, maybe in the late rounds, that he was good enough to do that. Or they wouldn't be. I mean, you're not going to get super excited about a guy that sucks, right? I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't think so.
And like you said, if someone's a good teammate and a good guy, he's going to get that kind of support. Because we post a lot of videos and not a lot of people get that support.
Which, again, hey, thanks for the retweet.
Yeah. So look forward to him. He could be a guy that's going to have to show out in preseason to make the team. But
it's also kind of a good sign that, the front office isn't done. They're still out there looking. They're still working. They're still doing some due diligence, apparently. That's a good sign. We need wide receiver depth. More people in there competing, the better. Good luck, bro. Hope you do well.
Yeah. All right. So I'd be remiss not to say that he's a kick returner. So he's going to definitely push that kick return spot. He led West Virginia in kick returns. And actually, his 2017 year, last year, he had, 26.3 yards per kick return.
He'll fit right in then. Don't the Jags like specialized in wide receivers that kick return but can't catch footballs?
But he can catch, I think.
I
think he can catch.
Either way, you found your home.
Well, the other recent news is the Jags all 25 list that came out. And first of all, how do you even rank like 5 through 25?
I agree. I wouldn't say that. Maybe like 15 through 25.
Yeah, I guess
mean,
you're right.
You kind of get to the point where it's like, all right, we're out of Pro Bowlers, and we're just like naming guys who came from other teams that were maybe better there but good with us, or good with us and left and did better. I mean, it's tough, but the list isn't bad. Was there anything like you were just like blatantly like arguing with in the top half of it, maybe, or?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, all we have so far is David Guard, Chris Naoli, and I can't remember who the other guy was.
Is the full list not out? I think
no.
it is.
Is it? No.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
Think is it?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think they're just counting down. I think
they hit like 23 earlier today, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're deep into it.
I think they're counting down from 25.
We might have wanted to like maybe do this before we started.
There's a couple different lists out there, and who knows? I mean, we don't know what we're talking about.
I might be looking at the wrong one, but either way, I mean,
because there is a list done by Ranker, like Ranker.com.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, no, that's not it. Ranker.com actually is a little different.
Which I wouldn't argue with. I mean, so far, like, that's a pretty solid list.
Ranker.com has Mike Peterson at 25, and Ngakoue at 24, and Malik Jackson at 23.
Which, I mean, I wouldn't argue any of those spots. Short-lived, but solid.
Yeah,
well above average.
Is AJ Boye better than Ngakoue, though? They have him higher. And they have David Guard at 15. Whatever. It's
fun to talk about. It's fun
it is.
I mean, maybe the top 10 is probably like what the best argument would be. Like, who's your top 10 Jags of all time?
Yeah.
And, their top 10.
How about we do this,
okay,
since we're talking about it?
I like it.
And it's a side tangent. Who are your top 3 Jags of all time?
Top 3.
Now, I know I haven't given you a lot of time to think about it, so just kind of, go off the head here.
Probably unquestionable. I mean, Fred Taylor's number 1, without a doubt. Baselli's number 2, without a doubt. Number 3 is going to be up for argument. I mean, number 3 for me probably would be, I'd have to go with MJD, man. Even though he was like a little bit later in the mix, but can't knock a guy again. Backstory, love backstory. I mean, dude wasn't supposed to do what he did, and he was just a bowling ball, like balled out for him.
This is going to be really boring because that was going to be my top 3.
Well, I think that means those are the top 3. I mean, that's unquestionable. I mean, I could throw Jimmy Smith in there if I want to like make an argument instead of MJD.
What about Mark Brunell?
Nah, dude, he's in top 10, like bottom of the top 10.
Really?
Dude, I'm not. I'm
Even
a
though
Brunell
he
fan.
led that 98 season?
Yeah, but dude, the team was ridiculously good.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'm a Brunell fan because he's a stand-up guy, he's a Christian, and he's a good Jag. He's a good Jacksonville dude. He's done a lot for the community. But football player-wise, dude, he wouldn't have started on a lot of teams.
Well, he didn't start on
exactly.
A couple,
I mean, as far as QBs go, man, he was not a fantastic QB. He was what we hope Foles is going to be, I think. I mean, he's going to be a game manager. He's going to make the plays when he needs to. He's going to make good decisions. And he's going to be a good locker room guy. I mean, that's what he was.
Brent Papino says Joel Smingy was the other in the top 25.
There you go.
Thank you, Brent.
I mean, he makes it alone just because of the Smingy chant and all the football games.
Yeah.
I mean, can you go wrong with that?
No.
Again, solid dude.
I hate to say, like, I was kind of young in the Joel Smingy era.
Yeah.
So I don't, like, remember watching the games. Like, you can't go back on NFL Rewind and watch them.
No,
I would have by now.
Yeah, I can't break down his film. But, I mean, he was obviously a solid player. I mean, so, yeah.
But, you can't argue with the list so far. But it'll be good to see. I mean, I feel like we'll have more to talk about this as the list kind of develops. We've only had 3. So I think the fact that a lot of the players on the current team that have only played for 2 or 3 years are making the list, like, kind of shows that we haven't had a lot of, like, balling out stars in the Jaguars, like, history. I mean, there was a lot of dead times.
A ton of dead times.
And that's kind of what made Maurice Jones-Drew, like, stand out to me, was that he was, like, literally the shining light for so many years.
Yeah, and David Gerard as well. I mean, he showed out for a few seasons. I mean, when everything else around him was awful.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, well, let's get into the offensive line.
Sounds good.
That's why we're here, kind of. Sort of. So, just give me, like, right off the bat, Joey, your thoughts on the offensive line and what are you expecting out of them this year?
I mean, my thoughts is that it's the crux of our entire team. I mean, everybody talks about Fournette. You know, he's going to lead us to the Holy Land or tank the season for us, but the offensive line is going to be the one that helps him do that. So, I mean, if everybody's healthy, which, I mean, you look at our depth chart right now, and all of our starting offensive linemen have a question mark next to them, have a big Q, because they were all injured last year or still battling back from injuries, except for Jawan Taylor.
Yeah,
which is a rookie.
AJ Cam played a lot, like 15 games last year.
He did, but I even think he's on the list with a. He's not. You're right. He's the one that does not have a question mark, a Q next to him. Cam Robinson. I mean, this is his contract year. I mean, he's our left tackle. He balled out 2 years ago. He did not look good before he got hurt last year. So I mean, that's a giant question mark, and I think he's going to be fine. I mean, I think he's going to come back in and do what he should. But I mean, Linder and Norwell are the two guys for me. I mean, they should be top 5, top 10 in the league in their positions.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they're getting paid.
Yeah, I mean, like, we have two of the best linemen in the league as far as their pay scale goes and as far as Norwell being a Pro Bowler. So
he was an all-pro, not to mention.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, those two guys, we shouldn't have a bad offensive line with them there. So I think it's up to them to really, like, pull everything together, honestly.
Yeah, I think getting healthy obviously is the number one priority for this offensive line and really the entire team in general. We have a lot of fans of the show that aren't like football heads. Like, I know we have a lot that are football heads.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot, and they've told us, we get people tell us all the time, like, we love your show. Half the time we don't know what y'all are talking about. So I just wanted to
half the time I don't know what we're talking about. So that's good, guys. I appreciate you asking for clarification.
That's true. So I just want to kind of like quickly talk about like what the zone blocking scheme is that we run.
Okay, I would love that because then I can probably speak more intelligently about what I think about them. So that's a good segue.
Yeah. So basically, to simplify the zone blocking scheme, that just means like the offensive line like moves typically laterally as a unit, and the block should create some natural gaps. And it's up to the running back to kind of find them. So the running back takes what he can get. He never you don't want to dance around in the backfield. You kind of want to hit the hole and get upfield like as soon as you can.
It's kind of like a downfield running scheme.
Yeah, it really is. And basically what you want if you're a zone blocker as an offensive lineman is you want good footwork. And you want to know your blocking rules, and you want to have good communication along the offensive line. And basically, like I said, it's moving laterally, it's moving vertically. And most importantly, it's about preventing penetration across the line. So, like, that's the most important thing to do. And as we saw last year when we had our ragtag group of people in there, they were getting penetration. And
well, I mean, I'll interrupt there. If you're a group that has to move laterally and the gap's not somewhat defined, it might be moving as well. You have to be cohesive. You have to know what the guys around you are doing. And if you're subbing in 4th and 5th string linebacker or offensive lineman, then that's not going to happen.
Right, exactly. And basically, like, to simplify it as much as it can get, is the zone blocking scheme relies on angles to win more than, like, power.
Okay.
So if you see a guy...
So it's more finesse as opposed to I'm going to just crush the guy across from me.
Yeah. And zone block... And, like, really, like, what you see coaches do for a long time is run the same formation out of zone and just basically keep the defense on their heels by running different plays out of the same formations versus a, multiple formation look... these spreads and get out people in motion.
If you can do that, it's even better, though, because you have no idea what's coming. There's no, like, pattern to it, right? I mean, it's the same thing every time, but we don't know what play's coming.
Yeah, and I really am a fan of the zone blocking scheme, like, with 2 tight ends. And that's what I'm a little concerned that we don't have 2 tight ends. That probably, I mean, Swaim and O'Shaughnessy, I mean, this isn't the tight end podcast, but that's...
But that's an important part of the blocking scheme for any team these days.
Yeah.
Would a fullback, like a good blocking fullback, be able to, like, substitute for one of those tight ends?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely, but
we don't have that either. I mean, I'm not saying we do. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, you're spot on.
So, like, outside of that, though, what is the other – I mean, could you say deny penetration, but isn't that the goal of, like, every offensive line?
No, because there's some, like the read option, for example. The backside defensive lineman is allowed to come in free.
So they almost want people to come in so they can throw over that person in the gaps.
Or if you're running power – out of like power, and you're pulling your backside guard to the play side, that DN that's on that side of the field can't get to the play.
Gotcha.
So you're kind of just leaving him alone. Whereas zone, it's like no one's penetrating. Like and it kind of it's what a lot of teams are going to. The Denver Broncos like really perfected it in the 90s and early 2000s. They did a lot of cut blocking though, and people didn't like them for that. But so that's the fundamental. And the reason why that's kind of important is because Juwan Taylor gets a reputation for being like a powerful mauler, like a big grizzly bear.
I think the opposite, though.
And he's not.
Maybe I know
He's
more about
not.
football than I think
Yeah.
I do because he's kind of soft. He's kind
Well,
of more. He's a big
also-
dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you see the picture of him with the man purse? Please
They're
tell me you saw the
popular.
picture with dude.
I saw a guy in the gym today, like no lie, like unironically wearing a fanny pack.
Okay, well that's fine because that's like you're bringing that back. But it wasn't a man satchel. It wasn't like a carrier bag. Dude had a Versace. What's the other one? Not Gucci. It was a Gucci
no
like
clue.
man purse.
Okay.
And dude, he looked like a grandpa, like a giant grandpa. Like there wasn't muscle tone. I mean, he's obviously a giant dude.
He's a
like
big boy.
he's huge.
He's a
like
big
he's a
boy.
massive of a human being. But it wasn't like I look at that guy. If I didn't know who he was, I wouldn't think he's an NFL like top draft pick. Like he just isn't chiseled. Like I could see him being technical with his size and it working, but not like I'm going to overpower somebody.
Then that's exactly what he is. But I just say that, I guess, because like all the things coming on draft day was like talking about how he's just like a mauler and a,
Well, in
and
college, sure. I mean,
but he what? I mean, he's really, like you were saying, he's a technician.
okay, well, that's
Like,
good to know.
He's like all like basically like I was talking about with the zone blocking scheme. It's all about angles, and what comes into play with angles is like your first step as an offensive lineman.
Well, it sets everything up, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so there's all kind of steps. I mean, they got names for all of them. And basically, like, Juwan Taylor steps are, like, elite. And that's why I really liked him coming out. And I would have been totally fine taking him in the first round because his drive step and his lead step is, like, the best of any lineman coming out of the draft. He is, like, he is an amazing play side blocker, meaning they can run the ball behind him. And that's what I like about him is we have a guy now we can run the ball behind him.
Which I would also have to assume helps a rookie coming in being able to play at an elite level in the NFL if that's his strength as opposed to just being a physical specimen.
Right. Yeah.
He's already got the stuff that's hard to coach.
Yeah. And another thing that he does great is if he gets his hands on you, like he's not letting go. There was a play in one game, I can't remember, I think it was the LSU game, where he basically just blocking a guy with one arm and like just driving him sideways with one arm. It's like, dang, dude, like is he gonna be able to do that in the NFL? Maybe. I mean, but I'm really excited about Juwan Taylor, and he is who I'm most excited about on the right side.
Now, with that scheme, that all seems to tie into Foles flourishing behind that because he's obviously at the point in his career where he knows what he's doing. He's going to make good decisions. He's going to work with that unit, and they're going to work together. But that seems to really – yeah, that's not good.
Yep, just spilled a drink on my computer.
I was going to make a great point, too. You want to pause right there for a minute?
Why don't you just keep talking, and I'll clean this up, and then
Okay,
we'll
fair
go.
enough. So my point
You gotta
is,
love live, right? You gotta
Hey,
love being live.
it is what it is. I mean, my point with that whole thing is that I think that goes against Fournette, though. I mean, it's another like knock against him, and you know, I've been hard on him for obvious reasons. I mean, we spent a top draft pick on him. You know, you got Saquon Barkley, you got Ezekiel Elliott, went in the same type of draft as him. You know, Saquon had 2,000 total yards last year. You know, Ezekiel had close to 1,500 or 1,300 and a lot more touchdowns. So one of the knocks against Fournette, outside of all the other stuff, is that he doesn't know football. Like, he doesn't know the playbook. He doesn't know how to hit a moving hole. It's all been based on the fact that he's been a physical specimen his entire life and didn't have to really do all that stuff. So if our whole blocking scheme and our offense is going to be based off the fact that, you know, this is a cohesive unit that's going to open up moving holes, him not knowing the playbook and not knowing anything other than, hey, give me the ball and I'll run, I think is going to be a problem, right?
That was a great job of filling in right there.
I did my best. I'm kind of out of breath at this point. I mean, that might be all I got.
Yeah. So who were you talking about?
I'm talking about Fournette.
Fournette. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I mean,
I was talking about him it being an issue.
Can you recap it for me?
I can real quick. The fact that, you know, our offensive line, them working cohesively and that being like a moving scheme type of thing, like Fournette doesn't know the playbook. That's been his knock. He's been a physical specimen his whole career. He just runs the ball and like goes around people or over people. Him not having the physical or football IQ that he needs to have with that being our scheme scares me.
Well, he ran like a power scheme in college, but he's so athletic and he can just.
Does it matter though if he's running at the wrong spot?
No, you're right. It doesn't. It doesn't. But I think that he has the potential to be. I mean, they wouldn't. He's an elite back, and he showed in 2017 that he's capable of being an elite back. But you're right, and the jury's still out. I mean, he could be a huge bust to this point. You never know. All right, let's get to a question here. This first question is from our good friend UCF Jaguar, who is the king of Jaguars YouTube. And if you're not subscribed to UCF Jaguar, then you
want constant content?
Yeah,
you're
missing out. So he asks, if the Jaguars go 8-8, will the front office trio of Dave Caldwell, Doug Marrone, and Tom Coughlin stay intact?
That's a great question, and I think it's going to be less about the actual record at that point and more about how they negotiate the contracts and what players they're able to keep. They're not gonna let those guys go before everything's negotiated. They're not gonna bring new people in to take over that situation. But if they lose like a bunch of people that we should be able to keep or let the wrong people go as far as the fans think, dude, there could be a huge uprising. I mean, honestly, I think 8-8. I picked that before the season. I think we're going 8-8, maybe 9-7.
I think it depends on what type of 8-8 it is. I know it's a weird answer, but like
it's actually not. That's a great answer.
Like if Foles gets hurt and Gardner Minshew comes in and leads the team to 8-8, I think they're safe. If there's a bunch of injuries and we go 8-8, I think we're safe.
Or if we go like toe to toe with a solid team and it comes down to the wire and then we lose a bunch of games like that. I mean, we have a tough schedule, man. We have a really tough schedule. So I mean, that's kind of a broad question that it could have a lot of different answers.
Yeah, it has. But if everyone's healthy and all things remain the same, then I think that the team makes a huge change and Shad Khan makes changes, and then I think all three are gone.
Really?
Yeah. If everyone's healthy, and because 8-8 is just simply not good enough.
Really?
Yeah, I understand that we were bad last year, but last year was an anomaly. If you're Shad Khan, because you've spent. I mean, we have no money. We're capped out.
We have no money on the cap.
That's
but
what I'm
that
saying.
doesn't mean that he's not making money hand over fist and the money of
I
the
know,
franchise.
but he wants to win, and he wants to win. So I think that they would be, I'm kind of with Jeff the Jesus Boy on Twitter, and he's at Jeffrey Grissom, and he says something's going to change, and that would be something gonna change, and that would be a massive disappointment. So I'm with you, Jeff.
I think that Jaguar fans need to reevaluate their expectations.
No,
for this coming
dude,
season.
not me. If we can get the AFC Championship game with Bortles, we can get to the Super Bowl with Foles. That's how I feel. The team's the same. You're missing a couple people that didn't really contribute that much last year. So.
I'm not saying the team's not the same. I'm saying there's a lot of question marks health-wise, and I'm saying that we have a ridiculous schedule next year.
That's true. All right, we're going to take a quick break so we can clean this mess up.
Your mess, not mine.
Yeah, and we'll be right back.
So I guess it's like per usual, I haven't looked at the Twitter questions because I'm kind of older and not really what I do on a
Don't know
daily
how to
basis.
use Twitter? Is that what you're
I
trying
know
to,
how to use
is that what
Twitter.
you're trying to tell people right
Honestly,
now?
if we really want to get into it, iPhone doesn't have a scrollable Twitter widget, and Android did. I was all over Twitter when they had that. I had to switch because of work, and I can't be bothered to click on the app and actually do it that way. So that's the honest answer to that one. But I don't want to like jump in on a question that's already been asked. But so like I have a offensive line question for you whenever you're ready for that. So you can throw that. You can ask me that whenever you're ready.
Let's do it now. You already
All right,
teased it. Let's do
my
it.
question would be like, what is your biggest question mark with our offensive line?
My biggest question on the offensive line is Cam Robinson. And that's easy for me to say. He played 2 games last year.
Awfully.
And the games that he played in 2017, I mean, he was good and serviceable. But at the end of the day, I mean, he wasn't anything that was like super special. I mean, he looked good for a rookie, but it wasn't like amazing offensive lineman.
Do you think maybe he was playing somewhat injured, didn't realize it the first 2 games until he actually was like severely injured? Like maybe it was like a nagging injury type thing? It was a huge drop off is why I'm asking.
It wasn't even that he played bad last year. Like I get that he was injured last year. I'll give him a pass. It was just that he didn't. I mean, he played good, but he didn't play like amazing. And like we kind of were looking for him to solidify himself in 2018. Then he missed the entire season.
Do you really expect a rookie left tackle to come in and?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But you factor that in with the fact that he missed the entire season.
Okay. Well, that's an honest answer. I mean,
and I mean, I'm rooting for him. I like the guy, but
so it's not so much that he didn't play great in the first 2 games last season. It's more he is still a rookie pretty much. Like he's a second-year player at this point, and we are relying on him to be not that.
Yeah, and not to mention there's not a lot of depth behind him.
No, there's not.
I mean, you can't really move. I mean, you guess you can try to move DeJuan Taylor over, but he never played left tackle at Florida
at all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
And you talk about the whole, and that's why that's where I'm kind of leading is like you talk about the whole footwork thing. Like you would think that you could switch maybe like in a great or good left tackle to right, but you can't. I mean, it's a completely different kind of footwork thing in a finesse scheme, so that doesn't work with our scheme.
And I understand that, like, you have Josh Wells. People like him, but he got pretty seriously injured last year, too.
Yeah.
Eric Flowers had to come in, and he...
let's not even say that name.
The fact that we had Eric...
Is he still on the team?
No.
Okay.
The fact that we had Eric Flowers and... who's the guard that we cut? Oh, gosh. YouTube's going to help me out on this one. Omame. Patrick Omame.
Omame.
The fact that we had to have those 2 scrubs playing was just pathetic. And again, I'm not one to talk bad about people ever. I'm sure they were great guys, but terrible football players. So we look at, is Casey McDermott going to do anything for Miami? Probably not. I mean, Will Richardson is an NFL player.
Really?
Rumor has it Will Richardson is an NFL player. That's the rumor.
Who drafted him?
The Jags drafted him.
He's on our team.
That's the rumor. Apparently, he's a good lineman. He got drafted in the 4th round out of NC State
last year.
Yeah, but he apparently can't see the field. And I've never heard of a lineman being drafted in the 4th round and not playing a single snap, and with no injury reported,
and with no communication whatsoever as to why. But he's still there.
Rumor has it.
Is this like the Rashad Green of offensive linemen?
I mean, at least Rashad Green came every once in a while.
He's made a couple plays. That's true.
I mean, I don't know. So, I mean, the other tackles on the team, Andrew Lauderdale, a 6'6", 230 undrafted free agent from New Hampshire, hasn't played yet. Leonard Wester, he played with the Bucs last season, and let's see how he graded out. He played in 6 games. He had 118 snaps, and he had a 46.7 grade, which puts him the absolute worst graded offensive lineman on our team.
So it's not out of 50.
It is not out of 50, no.
Apparently.
All right, let's keep going down the list here. See who we got. We got Donnell Green, undrafted free agent out of Minnesota. Okay.
Minnesota is a powerhouse for offensive linemen, though. So, I mean, no.
And then you have our boy Cedric Ogbecky. Cedric Ogbecky from the Bengals last year.
Well, he has potential, right?
If by potential, his overall grade last year out of 54 snaps. Now, keep in mind, AJ Cam played 934 snaps last year.
Everybody hates him.
Cedric Ogbecky played in 54 snaps, and he graded out 51.9.
Well, that's well above 50. So
His pass blocking grade was a 43.2, and his run blocking grade was a solid 70.
So that kind of segues to like my answer to the question that I asked you. Is my biggest concern is depth, obviously, but the fact that Tyler Shatley is like our backup for like what 4 spots.
Yeah, I mean,
like he is our backup for every position on the offensive line, and he's
Tyler Shatley's a good player.
I like him, and he's good, and I'm good with that. But I mean, again, we get a couple injuries, and the same thing that happened last year is going to happen again. So once again, back to the everything else, wide receiver, question marks. Is Foles the MVP that we hope he's going to be? Is Fournette going to show up? Dude, offensive line is the question mark going into the season for next year for me.
We were just told on YouTube that it says episode 72 on the header of our video right now.
It says 74 when I just looked at it.
Well, I think our break screen says 74.
Break screen says 74.
The old overlooking the.
I mean, come on, guys. We can only update so much.
Hey, you gotta give us credit for this.
Yeah,
already.
I mean, we have like stands for our mics. We're not holding them anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
And not to mention that Miles Jack candle smells really good.
Which is the biggest upgrade.
Yeah, I think it smells
that should
amazing.
get us like 100 more downloads.
Yeah, that's a
right
Miles
there.
Jack candle. It's a little smaller than I thought it would be.
I think everybody right now should send this to Miles Jack.
Yeah.
We have your candle burning at the moment. That's how much we love you.
And it smells good. It's the Hawaiian flavor.
Yeah.
It smells good. So we're pretty excited about that. Tyler Shatley played in 12 games last year, 544 snaps. That's a lot of snaps.
That's more than a backup.
Yeah, absolutely. 55.9 overall rating.
But again, he's filling in multiple spots. He's not getting first-team snaps to start the season.
That's true.
I mean,
that's true.
But again, that's our guy this year. Like, he goes down after somebody else goes down, and we're back on the who the heck can we get from some team that wants to get rid of somebody and us give up a 3rd or 4th rounder for him. I mean, dude, it's scary in that avenue.
We found ourselves last year in a position where we needed a lineman and there was no options out there. I mean, like we talked about, Flowers and Obama were the best options. But Shatley's pass blocking grade was a 70.3, not bad.
No?
His run blocking grade was 52.2, though. Pretty bad.
Now, is that based off, like, him getting beat or, like, the yards per carry when he was in blocking? Like, this is Pro Football Focus, I assume, right?
It is.
So how is that, like, how do they judge that? Do you have any idea?
I could look it up.
Because, again, I mean, you have, like, again, 3rd, 4th, 5th string running backs in there. That could affect his grade,
No,
right?
I think honestly, I don't know. It probably, there's some arbitration in it, and these guys probably don't know the play call, and they can do their best. I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Okay, I'm glad you brought this up. Because people have all kind of issues with PFF. Some people are fans, some people aren't. Well, we use PFF stats a lot on this show. I do. And people are just telling me all the time, like, PFF stats are stupid. I like, that's totally fine. Like, you can totally feel that way, and I believe you, because I've seen stats that point PFF numbers that point to inaccuracies. Like,
and occasionally it is ridiculous what
like
they come
Jalen
out with.
Ramsey. Yeah. But here's what's interesting about the line, though, is only 2 teams graded out over 80 on both the offensive side and the defensive lines. Offensive lines and defensive lines. 2 teams graded out total on the offensive line and defensive line over 80. New England Patriots.
That was going to be my first guess.
LA Rams.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Two of the best teams in the league.
Yes, the teams in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So say what you want. I mean, yeah, you could point to a lot of inaccuracies, but there's a reason why they're called next level analytics. And
the only problem I mean, I knock them all the time.
Right.
I love what they do because there's not anybody else out there that did it before them.
Right,
Or
exactly.
currently does. Hey, if somebody does it better than them, they'll take over that spot. My problem is they watch TV footage of the games. They don't watch the actual game cuts of the games. So you miss a lot.
Yeah.
With that. So that's the only problem I have with it. And I think that's where their stuff's off sometimes. But I mean, it's the best thing out there, and it does give us. I mean, everybody's judged on the same standard, so it does give you kind of a bar that's set for positions and groups. So
That's well said. All right, let's get to another Twitter question.
hey, we're getting paid by them, right?
By PFF?
Yeah.
We're not.
Oh, we're not. Never mind. I
PFF
take
sucks.
everything back I just said.
Okay, this next question is from Jason Rat, and he's at RatHCP, and he says, we seem to have a good depth for the O-line, Richardson, Wells, Shatley, Ogbehi. He said, most teams keep 2 or 3 backups for the whole O-line. Who do you think they are?
I mean, Wells and Shatley are the only proven ones on that list. Like you said with Richardson, man. I mean, where's that guy been?
I think they can keep all 4 of those guys.
I'm sure because we don't have anybody else. But
No. I mean, I don't think most teams keep 2 or 3 backups. I think most teams keep 2 guards and 2 tackles
Yeah.
backups.
Yeah.
I mean, last year didn't we have Shatley, Wells,
And again,
Richardson? Who else was on the depth in the line?
I think Richardson's just the biggest thing to me because, like, how do you draft somebody like we did with him? And, dude, he was a good college player, like, really good. And the guy, it's almost like he had some weird medical condition that nobody wanted to talk about. I mean, he didn't even, like, travel for a lot of games, right?
No, he got put on like the some sort of like IR,
Yeah.
but like not injured IR.
And he's still there, so, I mean, it's not,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's a story to that we don't know, and he's ready to ball.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
I don't know. But yeah, Jason Ratt, I think they'll keep 4. I think they'll keep 4. Usually they
I think we have to.
And if not, I think Richardson probably gets the boot. It depends on how healthy Wells is. I don't know what the severity of his injury is. I mean, he played 305 snaps last year. It's a decent amount.
Getting quite a bit.
But we'll see. All right, so we got to take a break. We got to put in some ads here.
This is an actual intentional break.
This is an intentional break.
Yes.
This isn't we spilled a drink break.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a sippy cup in, or a little sippy cup lid, because I don't spill anymore. I'm going to change the header on the video so our fans don't get mad at us. And
I mean, you already dropped the ball. Really? Can you fix it now? I don't think so.
I honestly don't know if I can. I mean, we'll see. But we're going to take a break here. You can find us on Big Cat Country, SB Nation, Podcast Network. You can find us soon on the Overtime Entertainment Football Podcast Network. And find us on Twitter, Another Jags Pod. We do like everything on Twitter. Facebook, Instagram. I've taken over the Instagram recently, so expect some good things from the Instagram. So follow our Instagram. It's Another Jags Podcast. And
YouTube as well. I mean, outside of watching the live, I mean, comments on YouTube are well received.
Yeah, exactly. And we appreciate it. All the Joey fans out there. So give us like a couple minutes on the video, and make sure to support these ads.
I'm going to enjoy the smell of this candle.
This Miles Jack candle. It smells good.
I'm very relaxed.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to another Jags podcast, episode 74.
74.
We're breaking down the offensive line. We're doing our positional breakdowns. So you can go back. We've done quarterback, we've done wide receiver, and now we're doing O-line.
Running backs as well, right?
Did we running back?
Y'all did. I think you and Mike.
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah. Me and Mike did running backs. You're right. So go back, listen to those. We break them down pretty heavily, as you can tell by this podcast. We go pretty in depth. But that's what we do here. I mean, if you got an hour to kill, maybe you're going for a long drive. Maybe you work far and you have a long commute.
Or, hey, on the treadmill before work.
Go to the gym.
Better than ESPN at this point.
I listen to podcasts. Man, God, the radio's terrible.
It is.
God, the radio's so bad. We're not going to get on that rant right now, but whew, good Lord, it was bad. Like, do they not think people want to hear the Jags? Like, I know, like, you're out of content, but at least do something.
Yeah, it's off season and you got like 2 or 3 hours to like fill radio, but I mean, the majority of it is nothing about the Jags anymore.
Like, I don't.
And those are guys with like the inside like
right
track, like they can actually talk to him and watch the preseason stuff. And yeah, you need to talk about it more, guys. I agree.
Okay, so this next question, we're gonna go to questions here. It's from Kev Click, and he's at KClick_6.
K-Click.
Kev Click. Okay,
Kev
Click.
Click.
He said, "Would you rather have Tyler Shatley or AJ Cann at right guard?"
I mean, can at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of get why everybody doesn't like Can, but he's been more than serviceable for a lot of games. I mean, at least you know what you're getting out of him on a game-by-game basis. Like, he doesn't fluctuate a ton. And, again, in my, like, non-football coach opinion, like, I think I would rather have a known than somebody who might be all over the place.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just 15 games. That's
Yeah,
that's better than anyone else on the team last year by a lot. I mean, Shatley played in 12 games. Norwell played in 11 games. Linder played in 9 games. Josh Wells played in 7 games.
And also, you got I don't think people are giving Norwell enough like crap, honestly. Like, I mean, dude,
let's not be too quick.
I'm going to be quick on that.
He was injured.
Injured. Okay, so what? Duct tape it up, man, and get back in there for your $900 million you make.
Easy,
dude. Even when he wasn't injured, like there was never a game where I was like, man, that's the guy we got that was the best in the league. Never.
Do we need to get to his PFF grades?
I think we do, because
Okay.
I would like to feel better about the fact that he
All right.
is a stud when I don't think he is,
Okay.
or at least hasn't shown it for us.
Andrew Norwell's overall grade out of 726 snaps was a 66.7. Not great.
Not great.
Not great. But let's break it down a little bit here. Pass blocking grade out of 472 pass blocking snaps, 82.1.
Very good on the pass blocking.
Very good pass blocker.
Good thing we're a pass-happy team. I mean, all right, continue.
His run blocking grade out of 254 snaps, so about half, 57.1. Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. His run blocking grade is about equal with AJ Cann's,
Which everybody hates.
but his pass blocking grade is on par with
Then
Linder's.
Maybe with our, who knows what our offense is going to be this year, that might play to his strengths.
I think it will, and that's my point. And I think he's going to show you a lot.
Was that your point or my point?
It's your point that you made, but I was thinking it, so it's technically my point.
Fair enough.
But I like the guy. I mean, he had a pretty bad ankle injury last year, and this is what happened. He pretty much sprained his ankle, and the team was so bad that they were like, all right, we're shutting this guy down.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
And that's what happened.
I just watched a video of him beforehand, and he's like blocking 2 people with one arm, and it's like, dude, where is that guy? He's
Carolina.
Like, he's like, yeah.
No, he's gonna be fine. Just give him some time. Give him some time. Like, he's not. He played on one of the most injured teams of all time last year. Like, cut him some slack.
And I think that's the thing everybody, myself included, does need to realize is that last year was, I mean, like, the year before we were ungodly healthy.
Yeah.
Like, there just wasn't any
You
injuries.
jinxed us, man.
I did. I
You
went into
did.
the season saying that can't happen again, and it did not. But it did not to the other side, though, man. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I know.
nobody is that decimated on an offensive line ever. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like just one after the other after the. I mean, it was ridiculous. So it's got to be better than that.
Here's what I like about Andrew Norwell is his slide step, his drop step, and his bucket step.
Which I got the first 2. What the heck is a bucket step?
A bucket step is where you, like, go back and angled.
So backwards then angled, or
Yeah.
one motion?
So a slide step would be like sliding.
Sure.
A drop step is like drop back.
Yeah.
And a bucket step is like back and then do it like forward, like back and then to an angle.
And this is the whole line doing that, right? Because we
Yes.
are a
Yeah, we move as a unit.
okay.
Right. And those 3 steps are like phenomenal. The only problem is that his drive step and his lead step last year, like, left a lot to be desired. Where I'm almost to the point where I would rather see him on the backside of plays. So, like, I want. This is what I want. I want the ball to be handed behind Jawan Taylor, and then if Fournette has to cut back, I want him to cut back.
Then Norwell's the guy that's blocking everything.
Yes, that's what I would like to see. Hopefully, I think that's what you'll see. And I think Raquel Armstead, the guy we drafted from Temple, is going to really improve in this zone blocking scheme. And I think the fact is he can get to the outside zone in the sweeps, and that's where I think our line will be good this year. We tried to force so much inside zone, which I'll break down for you. Inside zone is pretty self-explanatory. It means you're looking for a gap between the guards. If you stay between the tackles, that's fine. Like, that's still inside zone.
Yeah.
But on outside zone and sweep, obviously you're trying to get outside the tackles.
Yes.
And everyone's moving laterally, and your gap may be inside the tackle and the guard, or it may even be inside the guard in the center, but it's going to be like way outside of where the play originally started.
Sure.
So I like Andrew Norwell in those and on the backside. Also, he's a great combo blocker, meaning he can block one guy in a double team and then like release and then get to the next level and block the linebacker. So that's a guy you also want to run behind too sometimes. And he's good at getting off of a block and then finding a blitzer. He showed that at Carolina. He was really good at that.
Like, I'm not just going to take care of my guy. I'm going to recognize that the play's different and go after that guy.
Yep. I realized this linebacker is like stunting.
Or didn't see that last year either.
No, you didn't. But to be fair, like, they didn't really throw the ball a lot. So
well, and that kind of leads into a side question on that. Everybody talks about Foles making the wide receivers better, making the tight ends better. Does Foles make the offensive line better? I'd have to assume yes, right?
Yes,
because they know what to expect, right?
Yeah. And he gets the ball out quick.
Yeah, and last year was like a crapshoot. Like, is he going to run it all of a sudden? Is he going to can he throw it there? Are we going to actually call plays that other team doesn't know exactly what we're calling all the time? I mean, he's got to make them better too, right?
And Bortles wasn't always like this, but something happened last year where he got into this routine of looking at one read and then tucking it and running.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has never been like that since his rookie year. So I don't know if he just didn't trust his receivers. I don't know if he had that Blaine Gabbert deer in the headlight thing.
Well, he doesn't mind to take a hit though, so I don't think it was that.
No, but not like scared, but just kind of like phantom blitzes. You know how Gabbert would have like phantom, like he would.
He's like shirking and there's nobody there.
Yeah. So I don't know if that just happened. Like, I've seen that happen to quarterbacks who have had bad offensive lines, and I think that might have been the case with Bortles, and that's why I think he kind of got a raw deal. I'm not saying he's a superstar, but dude, that line was abysmal.
Dude, nobody could have played behind that line last year.
No, absolutely. Tom Brady couldn't have.
No.
But no, I'm big on Andrew Norwell. I've always been big on Andrew Norwell, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year. I think
that's what I'm saying. There's no way he's not an elite offensive lineman. I just want to actually see it because I'm excited that we have him. You know, I mean, and we just didn't last year, so it's kind of disappointing on top of all the other disappointments.
All right, this next question, we're going to move a little bit out of offensive line for a quick second.
Thank God. I mean, yes, do it.
This question is from Jason Rat at RatHCP, and he says, "How did y'all meet and start this podcast, including James?" If you don't know, if you're a new listener, James was a part of our podcast for like 70 episodes. He had to take some time off for his other job. Totally understandable. But he was on here with us. And so the question is, how did we all meet and how did we start a podcast?
I mean, I think James is the most integral part of that, actually, because he was the one that brought everybody together. I mean, I went to high school with James, so like forever ago. I've known him forever. We all go to church together. So, I mean, that obviously is an integral part of that. And I met Jason through not only the church, but he's the athletic director at the school my kids went to. So all kinds of tie-ins there. And, yeah, I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean, we're all huge Jags fans.
And we've all lived and grown up at the beach our entire life.
Yeah, we're all Jags Beach rats.
Yeah.
We all went to the same high school in Jags Beach.
Yeah, even different times, but all went to Fletcher. Yep. So
James's parents and my parents were pretty close. So me and James kind of grew up together, even though we're different ages. And I looked up to James. I still do look up to James. Yeah. He's a great guy.
Hey, he's a year younger than me, and I look up to him. So, yeah,
for sure. We hope to have him back here soon.
Yeah, we've got to get a guest spot with James.
Yeah, I'm sure.
When the season starts, that's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. But we started the podcast because we all got sick of listening to the radio.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was a matter of like not only just like listening to the radio and not hearing enough about the Jags, but listening to the radio or TV, whatever, and people telling you what they thought on like a high level, trying to be like, I'm an uber football like knowledge god.
This is what did it for me. And I listen to me. I'm not sexist by any means. I love women. I love women. When women talk about sports, I don't even mind. Doris Burke is like one of my favorite people ever.
I agree.
But our local radio station here started this show called Helmet and Heels. And they put it on.
You're going to go there?
Yeah. They put it on prime time, like in Jacksonville. And look, like it's a show full of women talking about sports. I'm cool with that. Like it's happened to be a block when I listen to the radio. I'm cool with women talking about sports. But they talked about everything but sports. And they talked about like fashion and it's like, no, like, come on, this is a sports radio station. And it like that was what really set me over to the edge. I hated listening to commercials every 5 seconds on these radio stations. And so basically we just all came together and we were like, all right.
I honestly thought never in a million years would I ever do a podcast. I don't like public speaking. I don't like, I'm not I'm not in a band, like the band guy. I'm not, none of that. And, James called me and said, hey, I think that you'd be great for this. Our back and forth is good. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. Like terrified, like literally terrified the first time that we went and recorded something. And it was horrible, but yeah, I mean, that if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be sitting here talking right now. So,
and now you're literally everyone's favorite person on the podcast.
Which is even better.
It's funny how that
But
happens.
I mean, it's just so much fun, man. I mean, I do this at work. I do this with like my friends. This is what I talk about. So I mean, it's just an extension of that. And I know Jason's the same way. And getting the feedback from you guys, I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, we don't want to get away from the fact that we want to be like a fan-driven podcast, and
that's
like
what it's all about.
People send us their questions to like answer, but like we'll read your comments. Like if you have comments about the Jaguars and you just want to have your opinion put out there, we will read your Twitter handle, we'll read your YouTube name, and we'll read your comment because we want Jags fans to have an avenue for their thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, and disagree, man. Like tell me I'm an idiot because
we don't mind at all.
I prefer that. Like
we have no pride here on this show,
not at all.
And that's how.
But that's a great question and kind of cool.
This next question is from Ryan Kempe, and he's at Kempe_Ryan. And he says, in your opinion, which Rocky will have the biggest impact this season?
Yeah, this is the one question that we kind of talked about beforehand, and for good reason, because, I'm 41. Jason's obviously younger, and between the
almost 30,
between the generations of all that, it's like one of us should know what the term Rocky means. Yeah, it's got a capital R too, which I think has thrown us way off. It's not like Rocky Balboa, but
so according to Google, ASAP Rocky, apparently he was arrested.
Okay, good rapper, someone if you're a trap rapper fan, at least he's listenable.
Rocky the movie, 1976.
Obviously doesn't. Well, is that it? Is it like the best backstory guy that like bootstraps and like worked his way into it? Maybe. That'd be a deep reach, but
I mean, really, outside of those two Rockies, that's all we got here.
So read the question again. What is the best Rocky on the team?
Which, in your opinion, which Rocky will have the biggest impact this season?
God, that's questionable, man. The wording. I wish you were on YouTube right now so you could clarify.
Maybe there's like a Jaguars guy named Rocky. Let's see. Jaguars or Rocky.
Surely we'd know that, right?
Del Rio must steady the Jaguars Rocky ship from a Jaguars article in 2016.
Last year was Rocky as well as 16.
2016. Why did Leonard Fournette pull a Rocky 4?
Ooh.
According to NOLA.
That's that one. I like that one.
NOLA.com.
Is that Tommy Gunn like being like a punk to his coaches or something?
Sorry, the page you're looking for cannot be found. The page may have moved or you may have mistyped the address. So that website's no longer available.
Well, while Jason continues to look what the heck that question means, sorry, man. I'm going to go with what is the best like backstory Rocky, like hard worker. It's got to be Ngakoue, dude. Like, right? I mean, he is the best Rocky of all time because that guy didn't get any respect out of college. He's come in, he's done nothing but work his tail off, get better every single season, and put up 6 stats. So, yeah, Ngakoue is the best Rocky.
I'll give you that, but would Keelan Cole be more of a Rocky?
Not after last year, man.
But
he got beat down. He's going to come back this year? Okay.
You said no one gave Ngakoue respect, but he was drafted in the 3rd round. It's not like the dude was like no one's ever heard of him.
Fair enough.
I mean, Keelan Cole was an undrafted free agent.
Okay.
Played himself into almost 1,000 yards receiving in 2017.
Like, he got knocked out by the Russian last year.
Got knocked down, and he's going to come back. He's been training all year. Got the Rocky music
Has he?
playing.
I haven't seen him like running through snowy mountaintops with like a tree across his shoulder blades. I
You
mean,
didn't see the video he posted of him running up the Philadelphia Hall?
I don't. I'm not on Twitter.
No,
Remember that?
I don't know. I was talking about. I don't know.
I think like this season, the best Rocky is going to be Dede Westbrook. I mean, that guy's a man. He played like a man at the end of last season. He was drafted in the 7th round, Jason. So that's the official Rocky status, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and I think he's going to step up and take the torch. But I hope that's even close to the question that was asked.
I don't think it has anything to do with that.
That was a good question, though.
Yeah. But overall, not much more on the offensive line. That's kind of it.
Are we out of Twitter questions?
We're at Twitter questions. The only guys we haven't talked about on the offensive line is Bucky Stallings, guard, undrafted free agent out of Kentucky.
How did I forget about him?
I don't know. I was going to wonder. I was like, he didn't bring up boy Bucky.
Man. Sorry, Bucky.
Jordan Agasiva, undrafted free agent out of Utah. Brandon Thomas, Clemson's. He's out of Clemson. He's a 3rd-round pick in 2014. And
Not us, right?
No, and I couldn't find where he's actually played.
Clemson wasn't good in 2014.
And I also haven't found anywhere he's like when he snaps he's played.
Has he been in the Canadian?
So League? I don't know. Is that you know who Brandon Thomas is? He's Will Richardson 4 years ago.
Yeah, man.
Hasn't played a snap, but finds himself on an NFL roster.
Still making cash.
Yeah. And then your boy Casey McDermott, who we actually were. I was kind of big on Casey McDermott. He was an undrafted free agent last year out of Miami. He had some good film. His film was way better than Will Richardson's.
I think McDermott still has some potential.
I think he's a guy that could play himself onto a roster somewhere.
Yeah.
And the fact that he is still on this roster now
says something.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't know. I think you could be surprised at our boy Casey McDermott. And we just seem to always find undrafted free agents out of Miami. So, I'm kind of hoping.
Which, I mean, can you go wrong with South Florida football? I mean.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Before we wrap up,
yeah.
though, will you do me a favor and
Sure.
look up poisonous caterpillars in
goodness.
England?
I can't spell poisonous.
Because I think Patrick Jackson might have finally got into the nest at this point and died because there was not a Twitter question by PJ.
He
has he given up on us?
He commented
me being gone for 2 weeks.
He commented something about you on YouTube.
I missed that one. What was it?
I have to look it up. Poisonous caterpillars.
He actually did look up poisonous caterpillars.
Poisonous caterpillars that can cause asthma attacks have spread inland for the first time.
Ouch.
This is according to the Telegraph, UK News.
I don't know if Patrick has asthma, though, so that could be a lethal combination.
Apparently, the brown tail moth larvae, they're usually found along the coast of Portland, Kent, Suffolk, and the Thames estuary.
Which doesn't sound good for PJ.
Didn't that sound like I knew what I was talking about?
It does. Sounds like you've got it on lockdown as far as the provinces.
Yeah, so apparently a leading expert warned that they are, I think, spreading inland much more than we've ever seen.
It's not just a football show, guys. This is educational, like Discovery Channel.
If I remember correctly, there was sightings in Cambridge and Oxford. But
That's going way inland.
Yeah, way inland. But the butterfly conservationist, Dr. Phil Sterling, who studied species for a while, he says he's rarely seen this many, and he's been studying for 30 years.
That's scary.
So if you're in the UK, we have a lot of fans in the UK. We do.
Watch out for these bad boys.
We're the most popular Jags podcast in the UK for some weird reason, and probably because we give them some love about their poisonous caterpillars.
Because they're great.
Yeah.
Only when we hear from them, though. So he had a YouTube comment. What was that? I missed that.
It was something about he missed you or something like that.
I miss you too, PJ.
Yeah.
So there we go. All right, fair enough.
But anything else you want to add about the offensive line? I mean,
it's we got to stay healthy. If we stay healthy, we're going to have a solid year. I mean, if we don't, then, man, Foles can't run for his life like Bortles did, and Fournette likes to give up. So please let our offensive line be healthy.
We have a YouTube question.
Ooh.
This is from Brent Papineau.
Nice,
And
Brent.
he says, how many on the O-line depth right now could be replaced during or after training camp from other teams?
Oof. On the starting O-line depth?
No,
like outside of injury?
He's talking about how many on the
the
O-line
depth
depth
chart.
right
Okay.
now.
Dude,
Yeah.
all of them.
I mean,
Shatley and Wells are there for sure.
Yeah, I think Shatley and Wells are going to be again, I don't know about Wells' injury, though.
I mean, why do you keep saying that? Like, he's not even listed as questionable anymore.
Because, I mean,
But, I mean, seriously, he's not, though.
Anytime you're replaced by Eric Flowers, I'm thinking.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got ESPN has Robinson, Norwell, Linder, and Taylor all questionable based on last year's injuries or training camp injuries. Wells, and Shatley are the only ones that don't have like some kind of mark on them. So
Says this is from Roto World. Josh Wells missed most of last season with a groin injury, serious enough to send him to the injured reserve. He could get a shot to compete at right tackle this season.
Yeah.
But he is best suited for a backup role.
Yeah, he's not going to start. I think that's a given. But he's going to be a very serviceable backup, just like Shatley. So those two
Yeah,
are.
I think he's a guy that basically probably got shut down too, even though he's depth. I think.
Yeah, I mean, again, why are you going to push somebody back from a groin injury when the season's tanked and everybody else is hurt? I mean, why do that? You know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Wells, Shatley are probably there. I mean, could Cedric Ogbegi be a surprise cut? Yeah, I think he could.
I'm just impressed with how many times you said his name almost correctly this evening. I mean,
I was gonna say I've said his name probably 4 different ways,
but I mean, at least half of those had to be right.
I've learned if you just say it and go with it,
just
then
act
people
like you know.
think
Yeah.
you know what you're talking about.
Fair
When
enough.
really, I looked it up one time and
Phonetically, that's probably something completely different. But
yeah, I mean, one of our longtime listeners, Mike Yazji, I've said his name wrong like 4 times, and he texted me today, and he was like, "Dude, it's Yazji," and I was like,
I would have never known.
My bad, bro. I had no clue. But I think Cedric, let's call him Cedric. Cedric might be a guy that gets cut,
and Brandon Thomas.
Yeah, I don't think Brandon Thomas is going to make the team.
I don't
think
either.
he's
That's
a
what I'm
camp
saying.
guy.
Like,
he's saying like who could be replaced by a guy who gets cut, and
but that's literally it though. There's nobody else.
It's hard to find
here.
offensive linemen, man. It is. I mean, that position is probably the hardest position to find in the NFL. And I'll say it right now. Like, you can find any other position off the street.
Yeah.
Like, a guy that can come in and play it. But an offensive lineman, if you have like a terrible offensive lineman, we know this firsthand, it's going to be glaring. And other teams are going to attack it.
Hey, Joko getting picked up is a prime example of that.
Don't even say that name. It's giving me like.
But it's a good example of it. I
PTSD.
mean, like he was horrible with us for every year and still got a second chance.
If you're, I mean, I think Joko is kind of the same as Cedric Ogbegi. He's a first-round lineman, and first-round linemen always get a second chance. Eric Flowers.
Yeah.
First-round linemen always get a second chance.
So with that question, then, does 2 of those guys get replaced by cast-offs from other teams that are just as bad?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we just got to pray that no one gets hurt.
God, they got to stay healthy, man.
Yeah. I mean, our best rushing games last year were in Week 12 against Buffalo.
Man, well, that was before Fournette got kicked out for running across the field and slapping a girl.
He had 18 carries, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
226 yards total for the team. D.D. Westbrook in that game had 1 carry for 43 yards.
Yeah.
I hope we use him more on running game. D.D. Westbrook can do it all, man.
He's fast.
Week 11 against the Steelers, we had 179 total yards. Fournette had 28 carries. Listen to this. I'm sorry. I got to go off on a rant here.
Please do.
Fournette gets hurt week 1. Comes back week 10. Gets 32 touches in week 10. His first game back against the Colts.
And that was for what, 80 yards?
I can't remember the yardage.
It was like 96.
I'm more talking about the volume.
Okay.
The very next week, week 11, he gets 28 carries. Dude.
Do you see a problem with that?
Yes.
My God. Are you kidding me?
Dude, like, Fournette's injury prone. He can't finish the season. He keeps getting hurt. Maybe let's not give him a total of 60 carries in the first 2 weeks he's back after missing 9
he should be carrying
weeks.
the ball 30 times a game and catching it 5 a game.
But at least you got to ease him back, though. When you get hurt, it's one thing.
That's because he wasn't really that hurt.
Look, no.
Fake news.
It's one thing if you miss 1 game. It's one thing if you miss 3 games.
Yeah, but he could have came back like 4 games before that. That's the problem. He's soft.
But you don't rush a guy back like that. That's too much volume for a guy. In week 12, 18 carries, dude. Like, come on. Like,
he
give this
stopped
guy
being rushed back. It was 9 games later.
But there's something about playing at football speed. You can't just throw a guy into the fire. Like, it's just I don't know.
I disagree.
Here's the thing, though. Carlos Hyde was playing decent then. I mean, in week 12, Carlos Hyde had 8 carries for 44 yards. He was playing well. Why give Fournette so much volume when you have a guy you traded a pick for to come in and take some of the load off of him so he doesn't get injured.
Because our front office makes horrible decisions.
I don't think it's the front office, though.
That's not Marone, dude. That's Fournette is our number 1 draft pick. We spent a boatload of money on him. There's a bajillion Fournette jerseys out there. That is absolutely a front office call. Get his butt back in there because he's the
bell cow.
Bell cow of the team.
Yeah.
Absolutely, dude. He's the only star we got. Like, literally, he's other than Ramsey. I mean, he is
On
the
the
star.
offensive side
He's
of
the
the
only
ball.
offensive star we got.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to get him back out there.
Yeah, unless you count Norwell. I would.
I would love to count him once I see him block 2 guys with 1 arm again.
All right, and then week 15, we had 173 total rushing yards, and that was against the Redskins, which we lost to Josh Johnson at playing quarterback. And Cody Kessler was the leading running back with 6 carries for 68 yards.
Not at a loss for words much, but yeah.
I'm going to miss Cody Kessler.
That quick release, man.
Hey,
Might be 10 yards
no,
over
Cody
somebody's
Kessler,
head.
I
but
never
it was,
said Cody Kessler had a quick release. I said Cody Kessler was accurate and could throw on the run.
and
no one would. You said it yourself. No one could block behind the
I felt
offensive
bad
line.
for Kessler,
I did
honestly.
too.
Dude,
I did too.
he got thrown into that
Let's not forget.
buzzsaw of a, yeah.
Let's
I
not
felt bad for
forget
him.
David Williams attributed 5 carries and 32 yards in that game. So let's not forget about our boy David Williams.
Big D. Will.
Big D.
He was,
Big D. Will.
He's on our team. I have no idea who that guy is,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. All right. Well, moral of the story is offensive line, please don't get hurt. If they're
Yeah.
healthy, this offensive line has potential to be a top unit.
Dude, we have, and that's the thing that's, promising is you look at a lot of teams' offensive lines, and you're like, who's that, who's that, who's that? There's just not the talent there. They're just guys. Our guys have the potential to be, like you said, a top 10, top 5 unit in the league if they're all healthy and it all comes together and they get cohesive. So, I mean, that's a plus. I mean, at least the talent's there.
It is. I mean, you're looking at your starters of Shatley, Wells.
See, starters?
Your starters of Cam Robinson, Andrew Norwell, Brandon Linder, A.J. Cann, and then Jawan Taylor.
All pedigree, all from, it's there.
Yep. So I'm excited. I think the team goes as the line goes. I've made no bones about it. I'm a line guy. I went in the trenches. Me and TC both feel the same way about that.
I agree.
And I think that's why they've invested so much money in both sides and draft picks into both sides of the ball on the line. But it's going to be interesting to see how they perform this year. So, anything else you want to add about the line?
No, I mean, stay healthy.
I think we covered it all. I
We
mean,
did.
This may
Can't
be the
cover
most,
that any better.
this may be the most in-depth offensive line thing you'll find out there.
I guarantee you nobody has talked about on the radio in the past 2 months. That's for sure.
They're talking about craft beer on the radio right now because that's apparently all people talk about. That's craft beer
versus Bud Light.
Versus Bud Light. But anyways, that's this episode 74. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. If you look at our break screen, we have it all laid out for you. We are also on YouTube. We do these live shows now. This is probably going to be how we do our live shows from here on out. So hopefully the Miles Jack candles keep coming.
Yeah, and again, go to his Instagram because right now you can still get Miles Jack candles there. When the season starts, I think it's going to an actual web page, and he might not be as involved. We're getting paid by Miles Jack too, right?
We are not.
Okay, never mind. Get your candles wherever.
Brent Papano on YouTube says, "Thanks for being the best Jags podcast, not just another Jags podcast."
Oh, Brent, nice.
Yeah, Brent's the man.
I like that.
Brent's the man. He's a good guy too. But make sure to do all the stuff. Follow us. You can watch our live show. We recommend you watch our live show. We pretty much do Wednesday nights live shows on YouTube. You can go back and watch our show, or you can listen to it on YouTube without the video for some reason. If you're like a lunatic and you like to do that,
don't have another podcast service available.
Or you can go to iTunes. We're on Spotify now. I don't think we've announced that yet. I forgot to mention.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, we're on Spotify now.
Wow.
So for those of you that like Spotify, we're on Spotify.
Spotify paying us?
They're not. They're not. No.
Man,
only.
hey, bottom line, more downloads we get, the better.
Yeah.
So
SB Nation's paying us.
they are. Big Cat Country,
Big Cat Country, SB Nation. Yeah.
Love
so,
those guys.
admittedly, I haven't been on the. I haven't been on the website in a while. So.
Actually, their content gets more and more as you get closer to the season.
Okay.
And
Cool.
there's a good offensive line article on there, and there's more articles.
Is
than there were
there?
yeah, they're not bad. They got some good stuff coming out.
Did you steal any information from this?
I did not do that.
Okay. Well, hey, make sure to give us
What did I add to the offensive line? Yeah, all those nuggets that I threw in there. No.
Make sure to give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. That helps us too. And give us your questions and comments. We'll read them on here. As you can tell, we care. We'll even read them if we don't know what you're talking about, like the Rocky comment.
And please, who was the Rocky comment by? Do you remember?
No.
Please, let us know what that meant. 'Cause I'm not going to sleep until I know, because I'm kind of baffled.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is episode 74 for me and Joey. Another Jags podcast. As always, go Jags.
Go Jags.